Welcome to Behind the Ops, where we strip away the buzzwords and get real about how businesses actually work. Today, we're joined by Lloyd Birnbaum, a corporate and real estate attorney with over 3 decades of experience helping companies navigate growth, risk, and the complex reality of doing business. As co-managing member and founder of Lauletta Birnbaum, Lloyd has built a boutique firm that delivers big firm sophistication without the bureaucracy or bloat. With a rare blend of legal expertise and financial insights, including an MBA from NYU, Lloyd doesn't just draft contracts, he designed frameworks for long-term stability and smart expansion. From advising private equity and developers to guiding Fortune 500s and startups alike, his work sits at the intersection of law, strategy, and operational execution. We'll explore what it really takes to build a business that lasts, from negotiating major deals to managing the human and financial realities behind every growth decision. This is Behind the Ops, where experience meets execution, and today's conversation will show you why every successful company needs more than a lawyer. They need a partner who understands how businesses truly run. Good afternoon, Lloyd. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
I've been looking forward to it.
Thank you. So why don't we start out with you telling us a little bit about kind of where you are and what your company does and just a brief overview.
Sure. I just give you a little bit of background. I was a
Of
big
course.
firm lawyer in Philadelphia for 20 years. And about 20 years ago, about 18 years, 17, 18 years ago, I left Philadelphia to start a small firm in New Jersey to be close to home, to change the quality of life and to be able to be closer in time and
Sure.
distance to my family. Um, so I started with one partner, and before we knew it, another person joined us, and another person joined us, and another person joined us. And we outgrew our space, and we were more of a firm. And we were operating in very tight quarters, and we ended up buying a building and retrofitting the building for our needs. And we designed the space, the unique space. It was former light industrial space, and we designed it to be very user-friendly, with a great room where people could congregate and collaborate while playing ping pong, foosball, all sorts of games, and with a kitchen where we serve food every Friday. We serve lunch, and there's breakfast there every day, and we created an environment that was conducive to people wanting to come to work. And it wasn't just the fun and games in this great room, but the way in which we treat people and collaborate. Yes, we have people who are called partners and we have people who are called associates. We're a law firm, but we operate like a business and we treat everyone's treated with respect. Now, over the years, it took a while to weed out people who were causing drama, so to speak. Um, and today we have a very well-oiled machine. So I was co-founder along with my partner, Frank Lauletta. And for many years, up until recently I stepped down from my management role. Up until recently, um, Frank operated as our chief executive officer, and I operated along the lines of being a chief operating officer.
Sure.
And we had lots of help from other partners in the firm and other associates who were interested in certain things. We had one person who was very interested in IT and very educated in IT, and he started out as an associate and ultimately became a partner of mine. And he was very helpful and still is to this day, very helpful in keeping us abreast, and try to stay ahead of the pack with where we are in the IT world. We've been experimenting with AI, as lots
Yes.
of law firms are trying to figure out the best way to utilize AI.
Right.
The last thing we want is our attorneys to be using AI to write briefs and things of that nature. There have been cases I'm familiar with two cases, I believe, in New York where um, AI was used for briefs and made up the citations to cases, just made them
Wow.
up, and and the judge or the judge's clerk caught it. Um, and so, you have to be very careful with the world of AI.
100% for sure.
And we've grown. We've grown. We're about 30 lawyers today. We operate kind of lean. We have everyone does their own typing. I mean, there's one or two people who are old school, who mark things up by hand and give them to a secretary to type. But for the most part, we're part of the modern era, and we do our own typing. Some people would dictate and dictate right to the computer and then edit from there. I've tried it, and it just wasn't perfect for me. I don't know if it was my diction, my we are in suburban Philadelphia, and I think I've lost my New York accent, but I'm from New York, so as when I would dictate, things would come out, words wouldn't look the way they should look, and so I stopped dictating and just went back to old fashioned typing. Um, and so as operations enter the firm, some of the things that I was responsible for managing were personnel. I would get very involved in the hiring process. Um, for both partners and for associates. And associates are young lawyers. Usually they start sometime 1 or 2 years out of school. Sometimes they'll come to us laterally with a little bit more experience. And then there are partners who typically have at least 6 or 7 years of experience under their belt.
Right.
Um, and so I was involved with personnel, and part of that was annual reviews. And we have perfected the review system. We still give an annual review, but our associates meet with, and we don't give reviews to the partners, but we do give reviews to our associates and our staff. And our associates meet with a member of our professional team, someone who's our head of accounting, and partner, and review their performance for the past month. And it works really well. Works really well. The younger people, and the associates tend to be younger people, really appreciate the feedback that
Sure.
they get, and it helps them become better people and better lawyers. When I say better people, how you communicate with clients, how you
Sure.
communicate with opposing counsel, how you communicate with the lawyers who you're reporting to,
Right.
that all helps shape a person. And we encourage people to do things outside of the office. Yes, we ask our associates to bill a certain number of hours each year,
Of course.
but it's not something that we stand over them with a whip. We remind them of where they are, but we do encourage people to do things outside of the office, which is one of the founding principles of our firm. We we try to Our founding principles were to become a family friendly law firm company. I mean, because we operate our law firm. Yes, it is a law firm, but we run it as a business. Um, we try to make it family friendly and user friendly,
Of course.
and encourage people to get involved in the community in any area that they choose. And if they have an area that they need a little bit of support in, we're happy to provide support one way or the other.
That's great. So I think when you're talking about how well you do with the people and how you bring them together, and certainly that speaks to people and culture, right? So clearly culture is extremely important for the firm. So when you're putting these reviews together, what are some of the measure and metrics you've learned through the scaling efforts, right? Because you said it was one or two of you and now there's 30 or more. There's a huge scale in there. So how did you kind of measure that and change it and ebb and flow it so that you got to the place where you are, where you said it's nearly perfected?
Well, there's always room for improvement. It is
Sure.
it's a very good system, but I think that there's always room for improvement. The metrics are such that they're broken down into different categories. Their technical skills, their writing skills, their research skills, their communication skills with opposing counsel, with clients, and with attorneys in the office. The quality of their writing and their being persuasive is very, very important. The quality of their professionalism. Some people think that the way to win an argument is to get loud. And my approach is, if they get loud, we get soft. And we can agree to disagree as civil people. And we can agree to disagree and come back to a point in the future. Or if things fall apart because we can't reach an agreement, and we try to be as creative as we can to reach agreement on open issues. Of course, ultimately the decision is up to the client, but we provide the clients with alternatives for solving open issues. Um, and then, of course, we measure people by their responsiveness to partners, their taking on responsibility. So if you're given an assignment, the expectation is that you accept it as your own. You accept it as your own, and you'll be responsible for it and be responsible to all the people involved along the way. And that's really important. Accepting responsibility is something, it's a metric that is very high on our list. And accepting criticism is extremely important as well. Now,
Right.
along the way, in my role with the personnel side of the firm, there have been people I've had to let go.
Of
And the
course.
first time I had to give someone the bad news that I was letting them go, for me personally, was hard.
Sure.
Um, but once I did it, I realized that I was giving them constructive criticism on the way out the door. Um, and some people, unfortunately, we had to let go right away, and other people we let stay on for a period of time till they found something else to do.
Right.
It's a you have to be careful because in a law firm, we have rules of confidentiality and things of that
For
nature.
sure.
And we have to make a decision when to lock someone out of their computer. It's just the way it goes.
Of
And,
course.
and
So
you
when
know,
you're looking at those things, are there procedure manuals that you have in place? Is there a operating system that you kind of have documented? How do your team members know to go and say, these are the things that I'm expected to do? Obviously, there's communications amongst you and the team for expectation setting, but is there a process manual? Is there procedures or operating model that you guys kind of base everything on?
people are educated when they first join us.
Okay.
Most of the people who have joined us in recent years have joined us after a judicial clerkship. So they'll work for a judge for a year or two,
Oh, okay.
and then they'll come work for us. And we let them know what's expected of them, and we talk about the rubric of metrics that we measure them by, and that's told to them up front. There's nothing to hide,
Sure.
and we try to teach them as best we can to practice that way and behave that way, and they get feedback along the lines of those metrics, as I said, on a regular basis,
Right.
informally monthly, and then a formal evaluation once a year. And we proceed. We obtain feedback from the partners on each of the associates. So
Okay.
each of the partners is asked to submit an evaluation for each of the associates with whom they worked. Um, we've grown to 30 odd lawyers. So, I don't work with every associate.
Right.
Um, our business is a combination of transactional, intellectual property, and litigation. And
Right.
so I do work. I'm a transactional lawyer. My background is in real estate, and I do some M&A work, um, mergers and acquisition work. Um, there are times I get involved in litigation, but I'm not a litigator.
Okay.
So the associates who I might review, who are working in litigation, I have a different eye. I view them through a different lens. I view them through a strategic lens, how well they participate in strategizing, and most of the feedback that they get though is from the litigation partners with whom they work.
So as you're scaling, right? Because you've done this obviously very well. You've grown the organization, and you and your partners are continuing to grow at some level. So what's the first kind of point, or can you think of an experience where you look back and you were like, "Uh-oh, that operating model isn't working," or "We have to fix this procedural piece or this system that's in place." And how did you fix it, and what did you do?
Hmm. Well, we've been ahead of the curve with technology from day
That's
one.
helpful.
I mean, I consider ourselves as pioneers in the world of cloud computing. When cloud computing became available, we jumped right on it.
Wow.
And we have software and programs that allow people to maximize the systems that we have to be as productive as they possibly can. I don't think that answered your question. Maybe you would repeat it.
Well, it does in part, sure. It's certainly because obviously you saw a need and you went and bought a system, a technology to support something. So I guess tying that back to it's kind of like having to learn how to add before you use a calculator, right? So what was the operating piece that was either gapped or not working that kind of caused you to go and look and say, all right, we have to fix this process in order to support this technology?
I don't think it was as much as fixing a problem
Okay,
as enhancing our situation. I mean, we were profitable from day one. And we're proud of that. And we've
sure.
never had to, as many businesses do, we've never operated on a line of credit. There's been no need. We've operated based upon our revenue, and our revenue has been plenty from the time that we started. And we provide a fairly good formula
Okay,
for our partners to get paid and for our associates to get bonused. And like I say, I think it was a matter of enhancing systems that we had in place, as opposed to, I guess that goes for improving, but not that we had real problems. We lost some we realized we were losing some productivity
okay,
by having attorneys fill out timesheets, which is how we bill. Attorneys, we bill by the hour.
sure.
We're not a contingent fee law firm, so we bill by the hour. And attorneys would fill out timesheets by hand and give them to secretaries, and they would have to type it in. Then it would have to be proofread. Today, we have a system in place where, as you're working, you just type in what you're doing, and your time is recorded as you go. And you can have a stopwatch on it if you want, or you can just look at the clock and see how much time you've invested in a particular matter or correspondence or document that you're working on, or negotiations, or counseling a client. I was on the phone today with another lawyer and a firm, another partner, and we were counseling a client who was in a difficult situation. His business was failing, and he
No,
was trying to figure out how to get out of it and minimize his losses. And that was, you have to be sensitive to people who are
absolutely.
losing it. I mean, their dream isn't happening,
Right.
and maybe there'll be another dream, or maybe there won't. But we try to make it help them have as soft a landing as possible.
Which is very important, I'm sure, right? So that's a perfect segue into, thank you for that, going into the customer and how do you interact with your customer. So one of the things that I work with a lot of CEOs on and COOs on is the customer journey map. Tell me all the points where you interact with your customer and the support system or the measure and metrics that are involved there. So talk a little bit about yours and how you kind of balance out that customer journey map with where your process and procedures and measure and metrics kind of support it.
Well, for us, one of the most important things is to make every client feel as if they're a priority. And sometimes that's a challenge, but to try to make everyone feel like they're a priority is important. And when a client has a new matter, whether it's litigation or a new transaction, they'll either contact us by phone or they'll shoot an email. Like this morning, I received a document from a lawyer, and we had discussed the transaction a week or so ago that it was coming up, and so I knew the basic terms of it. And I'm going through the document, I'm highlighting it, and I will go to the client later today or tomorrow morning and discuss with them the top 10 issues. I mean, that's a focus that many of us have put in place, is to develop a top 10 or a top 20 list of issues to discuss with the client from a big picture perspective, so we get a feel for what's important in their eyes.
Sure.
Because a lot of lawyers will spend time on things that the client doesn't care about, and the client doesn't want to pay for. And
Right.
so our goal is to deliver value. And one way in which you deliver value is to create this common understanding with the client as to what they're looking for. What they're looking for. They may not be looking for the best written document, but they might be looking for something that will just protect them. And other clients want the best written document. Their standard is excellence. When I grew up in big law, the standard that I was taught was excellence.
Sure.
And then I came across a lot of people whose standard was, what's good enough is good enough. And I've learned over the years that for many clients, good enough is good enough.
Right.
But I still try to sneak in excellence wherever I can, because I think that as a professional, that's what I expect of myself.
Right.
And so to deliver excellence at the same price as good enough is a challenge. But I do it, and most of us do it. And so be responsive. I mean, we try to get to the client that day and tell them where we are with it and when we'll turn things around for them. Speed is important.
Sure.
Uh, we used to say, um, as lawyers, many lawyers travel slowly. We try to travel at the speed of business, because
Okay.
that's what our clients need. That's
Right.
what they need. So that's what we try to deliver. We aim to deliver, and we're proud about delivering that way. And sometimes it means um, having a junior person involved with the senior person, where the junior person is a quote unquote gatekeeper,
Right.
where they're making sure that things are going out on time when they're going out. They keep the quote unquote scorecard for the senior lawyer to make sure that things stay on track.
Right.
And
Which
when
makes
we teach
sense.
when we teach the younger lawyers to be a gatekeeper, that teaches them responsibility, so that when they become a mid-level or senior lawyer, they're able to do it for themselves,
Right.
or able to ask younger people to assist them, and they know what it is that they're asking for.
Right.
It's a
Right.
good system, and we're a happy firm. We have a great group of people, really great group of people. I love the people who work with us,
That's
and I say with
awesome.
us, not for us, because
Right.
I view them as working with us, and I
Which
think
I think
most
is huge.
partners do.
Yeah. That's a very big deal. I think some say it's grammar, some say it's intent, right? And that's what matters most.
I
Um,
think that's the style of practice, the style of business it differentiates some from others.
sure.
Some places are very Socratic, where it's just dictated.
Right.
And, we solicit input from all sides, because that we think, provides a
Right.
better solution. I'm okay with a younger lawyer questioning me. I might disagree with them, but they might shed light on something that,
Right.
from an angle that I haven't viewed from. And after 35 years, I'd like to think I viewed things from every possible angle. But one thing that I
Or
love
maybe not,
about
right?
yeah, one thing I love about practicing law is that there's always something new to learn.
Sure.
And if I learn from a younger person, great,
That's kind of
great.
fun. So as you look to the future, Lloyd, what are some of the things that you all are putting in place for either, lessons that you don't want to repeat or things when you look back and say, yeah, we're not doing that again, or are we absolutely doing that? So what are some of the things that you're thinking about for the future of the firm?
Well, in hiring younger people, we are there was a time when we hired people who we knew,
Yeah.
or were recommended by another lawyer. But today we look for people who um, who show quality work and show that they're quality individuals where they're currently at, whether it's at working for a judicial clerk or working in another law firm. Um, and so, in that regard, there are people who were brought on board years ago who didn't have the quality that we
Right.
expected. And, those are people that I had to have difficult conversations with, and some weren't so difficult, you know. Um, we brought someone in, bring someone in as a partner, and there's an expectation that they're working at a certain level of towards excellence, but they're not. They didn't have the proper training as younger lawyer, and we even had to let partners go. So,
Which is
um,
hard.
which is hard, but we're a well-oiled machine, and to
Right.
be a well-oiled machine, we have to speak with one another and identify issues, and as management speak about it and decide what we're going to do. And we've bent over backwards to give people the opportunity to succeed. I think that's an important thing that differentiates us from others. We do try to give them opportunity to succeed, opportunity to learn from mistakes. Unless they're detrimental mistakes, which
Right.
is very rare, which is
Sure.
very, very rare. Um,
So as a
and
founder looking at this, so as what's a lesson that someone could take from you on how to really ensure that culture, because it sounds to me like culture is probably the number one thing that you strive for to in order to deliver the quality product that you want to deliver. It's 100% culture. We're making sure that people are behaving in a manner that supports the culture that you've built. What's something you would tell an entrepreneur that you've learned about this and for the future, how to make sure that you continue that phenomenal team?
hmm, hire good people, hire people with vision, hire people who care about themselves, care about their families, care about their community, and care about their work.
Yeah.
And people, it's not always easy to identify people who you think will accept responsibility, but you know, ask questions and seek referrals, references, and but like any other business, sometimes you make mistakes, you learn from mistakes. But fortunately, we've been pretty good at identifying people who will succeed. That's been something that we're proud of, and that we've learned over the years how to do it better.
Sure.
I don't know if
I
that
think
answered your question.
Oh, I think it's great, right? I think it helps people understand that you learn, you learned, you watch, you change, you adjust, right? And you get to a point where you have a team like you have. So what's something you're looking forward to with the future of the firm?
Hmm. There's a lot I've looked forward to and a lot we've achieved. Um, to continue to grow. We have 3 offices now, and then there are people who work remote because they like to work remote.
Sure.
And if you can work remote and figure out also how to collaborate, we don't encourage this of our young people. Some of
Right.
our young people may work one day a week remote, but for the most part, it's important to be in the office for the young people to learn. For myself, I work remote a lot. I'm sitting in my home office today, and but I collaborate with people whenever I need to.
Right.
I'm on the phone. I'm on Zoom, and it's something that uh, something good that came out of COVID was that people had to learn how to collaborate in different ways. And I think I've perfected the means of collaboration uh, by working remotely. I'm fortunate. Not everyone can. Some people must be in the office, otherwise they go crazy. So
Right.
I go in once or twice a week, collaborate with folks in the office, speak with support people, and usually work remote. I like it that way. I live
That's
a
nice.
half an hour from the office. So
Yeah.
when COVID came around, I picked up an hour a day, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't
And
blame you.
And my network of clients, my local network of clients, are closer to where I live than closer to where I work, and so I get to have breakfast with clients and things that I don't ordinarily or wouldn't ordinarily do uh, down at our office.
Sure.
Although I became very active in the community down where the office is, in the local chamber of commerce, other business groups, in getting the name of the law firm out there and getting our reputation out there. I mean, we have a tagline, and it's called "Doing Business Justice." We're a business law firm, and we believe that we do business justice by the way we practice law. And I was out in the community spreading that word, spreading that message. Did that for a long time. COVID came along, and now I do it differently. Now I'm
Right.
having conversations with people like you, and that's just another way to get the message out there.
That's fantastic. Well, Lloyd, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for your insights on how to build an amazing culture. I really appreciate it, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.